field trips are probably the most important thing that the society can offer. And as we all know, they fill up very quickly. And the problem is we just need more field trips. So basically what I'm going to talk about is how to host a field trip. And part of this is to alleviate the fears and concerns people have about um, scheduling a field trip. And maybe after this meeting, there'll be a few people who will say, hey, I can do that. And we will help guide you through that. And so basically the field trips are one of the most important ways to support the mission of the society. And what kind of field trip you do is really up to the leader. You can have all adults, you can have family, that's really your choice. The type of activities we consider field trips are actual field trips, but it might be a workshop, a lecture, or a conservation effort, tree planting, invasive removal, seed bombs in a meadow, whatever. Pretty flexible about that, what that word field trip means. But for this talk, just if I talk about field trips, it really is encompassing all of those various activities. And so our field trips, the main purpose is so that our members can experience natural areas with other fellow Native Plant Society members. And I say members because of our limitation, most of our trips, it's very hard as a non-member to register because we open them up for members first. And so the other is just to see native plant species in their native habitats. It doesn't mean you can't go to the National Arboretum or Silburn Arboretum to explore what they've done. But one of our main goals is to look at natural habitats. The other is just, be able to just talk with other people about all the things that are wonderful about being out in the different natural areas. And then for conservation awareness. So you don't have to necessarily hit all four of those, but I think if you go to any of our trips, that seems to meet, all of our trips seem to meet those four objectives. And as Lauren mentioned, you do not need to be an expert. What we're looking for are people who are familiar with a location and willing to guide other people through it and not worry about that you're not the expert botanist or you'll know every single plant that's out there, because I'll let you know, none of us can do that. But you might have a location that's one of your favorite places and you'd like to share it with, 10 or 15 people to better spread the word about how important an area is. And so we'll be looking for you to choose the location, plan the route of the trip, coordinate with us so we can advertise it, and then leading the trip. So making sure that people can get to where we're trying to get to and nobody gets lost and everybody has a good time. So and so a typical itinerary is, you'll welcome the group, that you'll recognize the Native Plant Society and any co-hosts that are there. I always like to go around and just ask each person, what do you know about, the natural world? What would you consider your expert in? Some people might say, I know how to identify poison ivy. So you know what? They're going to be our poison ivy expert of the trip. Others might have non-plant expertise. So that way you'll all be able to learn from each other. I also like to make sure everybody knows where they are and what the experience is going to be like in the place, and then giving them a basic time frame of how long we expect to be out. So if somebody has to leave early, they'll kind of have a feel for that. And how long the trip lasts is really up to you and the location. So I just said 60 minutes or plus because that might get you out of the parking lot, but however long you feel it needs to be. And then at the end, always doing a wrap up, thanking everybody. And if there's a conservation message that you want to pass along. So pretty straightforward there. When you choose a location, make sure you choose a site you're familiar with, someplace that you really love. You know the trails, you know where the bathrooms are, you know where to park, you know how many people can be accommodated. the difficulty level of the trip. So, and then also if there's any required permissions, if you're at a park, make sure you talk to park managers. If it's on private property, make sure you have permission to be on that property. So we have this form. It's intimidating looking, I know, but it's really to give you a guideline for all the information that we would like so that the society can advertise it. Most of it's basic stuff like the name of how you want to describe the trip. What's the actual description? For directions, if you require registration, the directions to the site will only be sent to those people who register. If you don't mind if anybody can show up, then we'll put the directions in the description. But this form, there's a QR code there. You can get that directly. It's also linked multiple places on our webpage. And this presentation, I will actually link up on the webpage as well, so that if you forget what I talk about. And then you'll submit the information to the fieldtrips@mdflora.org. That's your sort of catch-all email for any event. This even includes if you wanted to do a seed swap or a native plant sale. That's the same address. Just thinking about safety, just, being aware of the trail and any site hazards. Think about if something did happen, who would you contact and how would you get first aid or like emergency assistance to that site. So just keep that in mind. Think about what kind of footwear, clothing, ticks, poison ivy, briars, and of course, making sure you're aware of where people can and cannot go. And then promoting the field trip, you're free to share it with whoever you want to, with your social media, your email list, but the society will post it on our website. We will send out an email to everybody about the event. So, and as we've talked about, registration, it fills up pretty quick. So you'll know almost immediately what the interest is in your program. And then once people register, there is the ability to communicate with those people. So if you as a host want to find out more about people before the trip, we can coordinate that. And so right before the trip, make sure you check your weather forecast. I always recommend scouting the site at least a couple days beforehand, just to make sure there hasn't been any last minute changes in the site, that it's still safe for people to go on. And then that also gives chance for us to I should say me, because I'm the one who sends these emails out, me to coordinate any of the communication with field trip leaders. So and for weather, you can do rain dates and cancellations. I'll tell you, they're a lot of work. So the best thing to do is just, cross your fingers and say, unless it's torrential downpours, it's it's on a go. Then leading the field trip. Oh, Alan, you'll recognize this. This is our our winter greens hike where it rained really hard on our trip. But for leading the trip, we do ask that you arrive early just to double check conditions and be there before the first participant shows up. Just be friendly and engaging. Have it be just a casual exploration of the woods and enjoyment of a place. And then just always, the leave no trace. Try not to leave trash or impact the trails or the area as you walk. And then afterwards, we love photos and any trip highlights, and we can email participants. We can share them on the Facebook pages. If you've gotten a plant list, that's great. We can incorporate that into our plant lists. But also, if you use iNaturalist, that is a great way of documenting what you found. And then, like I said, hopefully this will encourage future participation in all of our events. And so I'll just open it up for questions now. So hopefully that maybe our field trip leaders feel like that's a pretty honest assessment of, if you're going to host a trip, it's really just knowing a place that you want to share with, like I said, a dozen people. So I don't know if there's any questions.
Karyn, I do have
Sure.
a
Hey,
question.
Lisa. Hey, sure, what?
How long? I know that we used to always do a trip with Maryland Native Plant Society to Governor's Bridge
Uh-huh.
to look for spring ephemerals. But how long of a turnaround do you need for the advertising and stuff? Like if you wanted to do it in April, how long does it
Mhm.
have to? Is that too soon?
Oh,
Maybe next year.
right. No, that's a good question, is because I did mention that one of our things, and this could be if somebody's interested in learning the system, Christina has learned, and it's not that challenging to put in an event. But since I'm the one mostly putting in the events, it does depend on my schedule, which is usually Sunday evenings. I get to work on the website stuff. So I usually ask people to give me 2 weeks to get it up on the site. And then literally, if it's going to be like, if you said you want to do something April 4th, which I have an event happening on April 5th, if I get it in tonight, then I will send the email out immediately. If you gave me an event for June, I could get it up tonight, but I might not send the email out till May. So I can schedule the email. So it's, like I said, getting it up on the website, I do ask for at least 2 weeks. Um, and then how soon after that 2 weeks is really I don't think it matters that much. So
And if I wanted to have a co-leader, I should check with them first.
correct. Right. And
And
if
I'm
you want
winking,
me to
and I'm wink, and I'm
co-lead,
wink, yeah, I'm winking at you.
if you want me to co-lead, April is like weekends are almost impossible for me in weekends, but we can we can talk if you want to do something.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Jill, you have a
Anything?
question?
Yeah, great PowerPoint, Karen. That was really helpful. Are you going to post that to
Yeah.
the website so
Yeah.
everybody can? That's wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm. Thanks, everybody. I hope I get a few nibbles from people willing to just try this out for fun. It is really fun to be out there with people are going to want to be out there exploring areas. So, okay.
Thank you so much, Karen.
Mhm.
Karen runs our website, keeps our emails going out, keeps the events flow. It's like we're very indebted to her. So, and then she did that very nice presentation.